Hey y'all, welcome to another Election Land video. I just wanted to come on today and make kind of a podcast where I react to the French election results. They just had a big regional election. I've seen a lot of media narratives about the French far right, but I think there's another important story from these elections that also needs to be focused on as well. And I'll also kind of talk about where France is. They had their last presidential election in 2017. They have another one coming up in 2022. I just kind of want to break down where things are right now and how I'm looking at the situation in France and what we should be watching over the course of the next year in this important country. So first off, I think the two big narratives are number one, the far right had a horrible night in France. They were not able to win in a single region. Marine Le Pen is definitely disappointed. But I think the other big story that I haven't heard a lot about is that the party of the ruling president, Emmanuel Macron, a party called La République en Marche, was not able to win a single region either. That was also a very significant result. And I think that is indicating that this could be a very interesting election coming up next year in 2022. And I think another big story is that while the two parties that had the biggest performances in the last 2017 election both won no regions, the two traditional big parties, the Socialists and Republicans, did very well. And just to kind of break things down, these were the two parties, En Marche and National Front, which is now National Rally, that were big in the last election. However, it was a five-way race. In the primary election, where you had a centrist party, La République en Marche, the National Front, which was from the far right, Les Républicains from the center right, a communist style party led by Jean-Luc Mélenchon, called La France Insoumise, and then you had Benoit Hamon and the Socialist Party. Traditionally, French politics has been all about the socialists versus the Republicans, the left versus the right. But in 2017, Macron and Le Pen rose to power. They rode waves to victory and advanced to the second round, and the two big parties were left out. And then in the subsequent parliamentary election, the République en Marche won a big majority. The Républicains came in second. You also had a big performance from the National Front. But certainly it's revolutionized French politics, this 2017 election. And I think one big question is, now that the 2021 regional election happened, are we reverting back to normal? Because the Republican Party and the Socialist Party both did very well, even though they had horrible performances in the last presidential election. This indicates that the people of France were tired of them 4 years ago, but maybe they're ready to have them back. I think another question to be asking is French politics really going to change just based on this one election? For example, in Canadian politics, regional elections don't really play a big role. In American politics, regional elections and state elections do reflect national sentiment. So I think one question is, this was a very low turnout election. Will these results even mean anything? Do they even reflect where the country is on national issues, or was this all about who had the strongest local candidates? Another question is the Gilets jaunes, right? The Yellow Vest movement was very, very big in France during the first few years of the Emmanuel Macron presidency leading up to the pandemic. Will the Gilets jaunes try and string together a political movement? And if so, will they run a candidate for president, or will they endorse somebody for president? I think that is something to watch. Will they have enough momentum post-pandemic? How will anger against Macron focus itself? I think that's a big question, because I don't think Macron is very popular, but he's definitely being attacked from a lot of different places. Will somebody be able to really mount a successful campaign against him? I think one question is definitely looking at Les Républicains, the party that was nominating Francois Fillon in 2017. This is a party that is traditionally pretty big. It would make the most sense for them to strategize to peel away voters from the two biggest parties from the last election, the far right and the center, because they are closest ideologically to the center right, where the Republican Party stands. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the Republican Party is able to peel away enough voters from those two parties to really have a strong showing next election. Also looking at the Parti Socialiste, will they peel enough voters away from unpopular President Macron, or will he still be unpopular a year from now? I think a big question is what issues will dominate French politics over the course of the next year as the pandemic unfolds. This is a country where you have a lot going on. Politics here can be very complicated. For example, in the 2017 election, immigration was really important because you had a big crisis going on in Syria. And you had a lot of Syrian immigrants and refugees coming to Europe. And that kind of fueled the anti-immigrant sentiment that Marine Le Pen helped manifest. And I think if immigration isn't a big question in 2022, what will Marine Le Pen try to do to really get people on her side and get people motivated and excited? Also, I think the big question is, were these regional performances really that bad by Macron and Le Pen? Because think about it. The media keeps talking about, oh, the French far right party did horribly. They still won 20% of the vote nationally. They won 21% of the vote nationally in the primary. And then in the runoff, they were able to win 33% of the votes because they peeled away some votes from the Republican Party. I think one question is 20% still bad? Because French politics, as of 4 years ago, is a 5-party system. So is it really going to matter that they had 20% now? Because 20% will likely get them to the runoff, at least if it's like last election. Will Mélenchon run again? The far left candidate. He was surprisingly strong. And France is known to have a strong labor movement. Who will those voters support? Who will the Gilets Jaunes voters support that were angry at Emmanuel Macron? And is the National Rally Party even in trouble? I think another question is, will the Parti Socialiste gain momentum from its strong showing? They won only 6.4% of the primary vote in the last election. Will they have the ability to take voters away from Mélenchon and Emmanuel Macron and really be able to string together the strong coalition that they used to have back in the day? So I think that's what we should be watching, looking ahead as France prepares for its 2022 election. I just wanted to come on here and talk about how I feel about what's going on over there and where I think France is going. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want me to do more of these kind of snap analysis videos, then just let me know. Have a great day, y'all.